This next question is to all of you, and we will prompt you in terms of your answer. Almost 10 years ago, the death of a young boy in a crash on the 198 sparked a massive change for how the state and the city of Buffalo view that roadway and whether it should be turned into a parkway. At the time, the state proposed more than $100 million to implement changes. Years of talk and inaction are putting that money in jeopardy, and it may already be too late. In fact, the Greater Buffalo Niagara Regional Transportation Council just removed that $100 million from its plans through the year 2030.
So we begin with Mr. Wyatt. What will you do to ensure progress is made on generational projects like the 198 and the 33? And what will you do to get the state to return money earmarked for the 198 and ensure $1 billion from the state is still available for the 33?
You know, Marley, the big thing is it's always a lack of community engagement. We're at this issue with the 33 because of the lack of community engagement. There was supposed to be a full environmental study. It wasn't done. These folks have asked for that. They've been impacted by the negativity of it not being done. And so I think that's the biggest issue. I will work with the families and with the people in those communities to get that money back. But again, when we just give people a little bit of information and we don't give them the whole story, and we're not doing a full court press on making sure that the things that are done are in their best interest, that's when we come up with the log jam. That's when we come up with the pushback from the residents, and that's why we're in a position we are with the 33 right now. That should have been done. Now, I don't agree with however we do it. If you fill it in or if you go over it, that should be something that those groups that are meeting for the last 10, 15, 20 years, that should be something that they should be listened to. But at the end of the day, what they've been asking for as far as environmental study should have been done. It should have been full, complete, because we know the negativity and the impact that has happened for decades. So I will work with residents and individuals who are interested in those projects to make sure it happens. I'm afraid, because what Trump has tried to be proposed just recently on Bailey Avenue, that this money might get pulled. So we have to act with urgency, and we have to act collectively as a community to make sure we protect those other dollars.
Mr. Wyatt, thank you. Mr. Whitfield, same question to you, sir. What will you do to ensure progress is made on these generational projects like the 198 and the 33? And what will you do to claw back that money from the state?
First of all, I will represent the people of this community. I'm the only candidate on this stage in this race that fully supports the restoration of Humboldt Parkway and the Scajaquada. I found it not hard to come to that conclusion. I believe that the people in this community deserve leadership that is willing to take a stand on these issues. That is the quickest way to restore the east side of Buffalo. That is the quickest way. There's $1 billion, over $1 billion that is currently there. That is the quickest way to address the discrepancies and the disparities that are on the east side, but not only on the east side, because this project is transformative, not just for East Buffalo, but for all of Buffalo. Buffalo cannot be what it could be without the east side of Buffalo being restored, and this project will do that. I will stand with the people for that purpose. This is easy, and it's a shame that we have leaders who shirk away from this and make political decisions and try to be politically correct about this issue. This is an issue that the people deserve to know today where they stand on, period.
All right, Mr. Ryan, the same question goes to you now.
Let's talk about bail reform.
If you will,
Scanlon,
I'd like to focus more on the 198 and the 33.
Said I could answer my time.
I know.
Your minute's
So, Acting Mayor Scanlon always mutters about bail reform. But bail reform, that's straight out of the Republican playbook. My last two Republican candidates, they attacked me on bail reform. But my core of my public safety message is things must be fair and equitable. Before we did bail reform, the holding center was full of young black men who lived in poverty. They would spend days and days in the holding center only to appear in front of a judge to have their case dismissed. The only reason they were in the holding center is because they were poor. And I joined forces with Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes, now Congressman Tim Kennedy, and we changed the bail laws. The holding center is no longer
You have 30 seconds. Let's talk about the 198 and 33.
Black men. But I will tell you this. We may not have got it perfect, but we got it right. And I will not go back to criminalizing poverty and refilling the holding center with young black men.
Mr. Scanlon, we are moving on, and what will you do to ensure progress is made on these generational projects like the 198, like the 33, and what can you do to try to claw back some of this money from the state?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, this is state funding and state projects, right? And the city of Buffalo has very little say in that point, but that doesn't absolve the city of Buffalo of being involved. I think we are all aware of the incident on the 198 that led to this discussion, and we're all very aware of the long-term impacts of the 33 project from a half a century ago and what it's done to the adjacent neighborhood there. I think the best thing that has happened is the full environmental study to make sure that we know the potential impacts on that surrounding community. I don't go out and make declarations or proclamations without having all of the information. And once that happens and we have all that information, I will sit down with the community and have the City of Buffalo serve as convener and make sure we bring in all interested parties into the conversation, the people that live in that community and who are impacted by that project, along with Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes, who's been leading that project, to make sure. You're talking about state funding that may be clawed back. I hope that our state representatives fight for that. It's been taken away on their watch, and I hope they go back and fight for that.
Mr. Tyson Thompson, same question to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what we're seeing across the board is that we have electeds who make great promises, and they do the photo op, and they promise all of these great things. At the end of the day, nothing gets done. But constantly we see, even currently right now, career politicians arguing for power, but not for progress, because we don't see it. It's not even our infrastructure and our roads, on performance schools, or anywhere else in the city of Buffalo. You know, I don't care if it's the Skyway, the Jacquetta, or the 33. All of these has been going on for decades now. We haven't gotten any results. You know, we need bold leadership, new vision for this city. The way things currently work is just the status quo. And yeah, they're up here talking about what they could do, but they haven't done anything yet. Just more promises, promises, promises. But what have the city of Buffalo actually gotten? Nothing. So as mayor, I plan on addressing this issue by engaging the community. I think sometimes people have an arrogance that where people are just automatically going to come to them. But this is a blue-collar, working-class city. People have to get up, get the kids ready for school, go to work, do their shift, get home, pick them up, make dinner. Now they have to come out to a community meeting. We need to be using our resources to engage the community wherever they are, meet them where they're at. Use empathy and compassion and turn that compassion into action. These are the things that are going to create a thriving city, a thriving infrastructure, and make Buffalo ultimately better.